Now, in true Restring Sunday fashion, I have not finished stringing the guitar by the time I've finished talking it. Whoa! I caught it. Hi, hello, and welcome back to Restring Sunday. It's the series where I take a guitar, restring it, talk about it, and play it. But today, we're going to be talking not just about the guitar and its specs and the story of how I got it, but also about the topic that we've briefly touched on before, the country of origin of a guitar. And in this case, how the reputation changes over time, but the quality actually doesn't. This is a 2001 LTD EX100, and I have played a lot of old guitars, but this guitar is it doesn't feel like it's old. Like, I was 2 when this was made, but it feels like it could have been made yesterday. In fact, even in the current LTD lineup, there are guitars that fit this guitar's specs. Now, let's restring, and I'll tell you a little bit about this guitar. This guitar was the 3rd guitar I ever owned, 2nd I ever bought. The first was my Washburn X series, there's a video on that. The second was my dad's Ibanez Custom, there's a Restring Sunday on that, it was the first video. And this was the 3rd. And it's kind of funny, the reason that I wanted another guitar was because I wanted one that was pointy. That was quite literally the only reason, it was pointy. I think I was around 12 and I saw this guitar in a shop. I don't think it even had a shop name, I think it was just called Yamaha. But they had a few pointy guitars. I wanted a pointy guitar. It was a toss-up between a V or an Explorer shape. And they had 2 Explorers. They had an Epiphone Explorer and they had this. And I think the Epiphone Explorer was a bit more expensive. This guitar cost €220. And I'd love to say I carefully considered the specifications, the upgraded pickups, and really decided that this was the guitar for me. But actually it was pointy and it was cheaper than the other one. When I picked out the guitar, what did I play on it to test it out? Probably just like a drop D heavy riff, and that's all I needed. So once I saw it, I saved up money for it, and I eventually had enough to go get it. I think I paid a down payment on it first. I think it was €50 or something. So what is it exactly? It's an ESP LTD EX100. And it's very hard to find info about this online because I don't think they were made for very long. I could find the EX102s, but the 100s seem to be far and few between. I went onto the Wayback Machine and it seems that the 102s were made in 2002 and the 100s 2001. For some reason it's got James Hetfield associated with this guitar, just to sell it. I would assume there's no way that he was playing this. This was a budget guitar at the time, and still, spec-wise at least, would classify as a budget guitar, though if this was being sold now, it would probably be considerably more expensive. Now, before we move on, I would like to talk about the pickups. This was a pre-owned guitar and it was modified by the previous owner, and I think it's safe to say that the previous owner was probably a Dimebag fan. It's got a dime booker in the bridge, and as far as I remember, it's the Duncan 59 in the neck. I can't remember. Whatever Dimebag was using in the neck, that's the pickup that's in this guitar. And they really sound good. The dime booker is supposed to be like the Bill Lawrence type of pickup, and it certainly is very high output. There's a couple other modifications that the previous owner put on this guitar. There's some Dunlop strap locks, and they moved this strap lock here a little bit to try and solve the neck dive issue. I don't know how much it worked. There is still a bit of neck dive on this, which is a bit annoying. According to the website, it's got a basswood body and it is quite light, probably adding to the neck dive because a lighter body. Headstock is heavier, so it tends to dive. But the neck is a rather nice maple, and the fretboard is listed as rosewood, but it's a really, really dark rosewood. Like, I genuinely thought this was ebony. Now I think it's time we talk about the country of origin of this guitar. This guitar was made in Korea. And what's very interesting is that you can tell by the serial number of this guitar, it was made in World Music. Now, World Music Korea currently is one of the premium places that you go to get guitars built on a production line. It's where all the high-spec LTDs are made, the high-end Schecters, Ormsby, PRS SE used to be made in South Korea. Dean used to be made there. I think new higher-end BC Riches are made there. The point is, lots of higher-end guitars are made in the same factory as this guitar, and this guitar was a lower-end guitar. And the reason being is this was made in 2001, back when Korean-made guitars were viewed as less. And the reason being, this was made 21 years ago. People viewed Korean-made guitars as less. They were supposed to be less quality, but I can honestly tell you that this guitar is fantastic. The action is the lowest on this guitar out of any guitar I have. It is super low, no fret buzz at all. Now this guitar, we're probably going to tune it to E standard. We're going to put on 10 to 46 out of the big bulk box. Also, so many people have sent in codes to put on screen, so I'm going to chuck on loads of them right now. So many. I'm sure someone is going to get free strings out of this. So thank you to those people who are kind and sharing to whoever is getting them right now. Enjoy. And you know, the very first episode of Restring Sunday, we talked about guitars being viewed as lower quality because they were from a certain country. It was the Japanese made Ibanez Custom, and at the time people viewed them as less, but then the attitude came to change. And it's interesting to see that in 20 years that same thing has happened with the guitars made in Korea. Everyone recognizes them now as really well-made guitars, but they didn't at the time. This guitar was a beginner's guitar. Like, if this guitar was made now, people would give it the respect it deserves. But the pickups in it alone, I think, what would they be? Like €190 if you wanted both? Future editing KDH here to tell you that I was way off. The dime bag set of the 59 and the dime booker, on Thomann at least, is €319. And I paid $220 for this guitar. But the guitar itself, and probably a whole bunch of guitars from this time, guitars made in Korea, made in this factory, made to this quality, they're out there, and they're probably there at a really, really good price. So you should probably have a look. But seeing as this has become a trend, you know, made in Japan is lesser than any of the other guitars, so they're cheap, but then they become more expensive. So then Korea replaces Japan and they're lesser, and now Korea has come up to a high quality level, a high price level. Which do you think is going to become the new Korea, the new Japan? Like, is it going to be the Indonesian made guitars? I saw that BC Rich were making guitars in India, which I've never seen before. Indonesia had a lot of the Yamaha Pacificas, and they were always very, very good. So, will it be Indonesia next? That'll be the new high-end country to build guitars in? Who knows? Now, in true Restring Sunday fashion, I have not finished stringing the guitar by the time I've finished talking it. Whoa! I caught it. I have not finished stringing / dropping the guitar in the time that it's taken me to talk about it. So I'm going to close out here, and I'll see you next time. Like the video, subscribe if you want to, or don't subscribe. I'm not your mother. I can't tell you what to do. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.